Friends, hi. This is just a prologue, a prep video. I show you how to make a chocolate cake, live chocolate cake, tart, and it's I have to do some preparations because the crust will be made of nuts and some other nice fancy ingredients. And the filling out of chocolate, that means cacao powder and cashew nuts and some more fancy ingredients. And in order to make a nice tart that is firm and can cut into pieces and serve to your friends, you use this Irish moss. This is a wonderful ingredient. It grows on the shores of Europe, Ireland, and South Spain, and even in the Pacific grows. See, this is what it looks like. And it has been dried. In order to use it to make a gel and to put it into the chocolate and to make this chocolate firm, you're going to soak 1 cup of it, this is a cup about, in plain water for a couple of hours, maybe 5 hours. So I do that now. See, soaked Irish moss. It's very healthy too. It has carrageenan, and carrageenan is used in so many parts of the body. It makes the skin and the bones and everything of the structure firm and flexible at the same time. So this is very wanted in the medicine and the pharmacy and so, and it's all coming from this moss, Irish moss. So yeah, it's important. I like to use it. It has a very sea-like taste, so you gotta be careful. For example, if you put it into a chocolate and the chocolate's gonna be sweet, yeah, you know, most of the time we use the chocolate sweet, then you put some salt into it, just a tiny little bit, and you shouldn't taste it. Just it enhances the taste of the chocolate. And that is a great chef trick, you know. And you have to use this moss, this Irish moss, in a similar way, then you can make a wonderful recipe. Tastes amazing. It can. I will show you how that works with this chocolate tart. Here's my moss. And I see you pretty soon to show you how to make the chocolate tart. Yeah, see you soon. Hi friends, MD Vegan with a nice recipe for chocolate tart. Yeah, it's autumn, it's cold outside, and we want to like something, enjoy something warming and fancy for these cold and dark days to come. A chocolate tart is perfect now. Friends are already asking, so I have found a recipe from a great chef and a colleague, I have to say. He's a raw food chef, and he's called Russell James, and he's in Britain and sometimes in the States, and I appreciate a lot of great flavors he develops, and of course I modify a little bit the recipes, but I'm inspired a little bit by him. He's a student from Cherry Soria, the raw food gourmet inventor from the States. She's a Mexican, and I learned a lot of her, and yeah, I find it amazing that in the 90s she invented, so to say, had the idea to create gourmet raw food. Until then, raw food was just healthy, something for people who felt sick and wanted to get better, or freaks or so, some religious guys, and it didn't taste well. I like to eat a carrot. I like to drink the carrot juice. That's raw food. That's super. But if you need something, I guess I like to have something fancy, something nice, comfort food, and Cherry, she began to develop a whole style of delicious raw food, gourmet raw food, that is in nothing standing back from the original traditional food that is cooked. And you can, for example, this tart is a perfect example. It is a wonderful recipe. And it's a little bit complex because, yeah, it is something like sometimes like that with gourmet food, that you have to do something more complex to reach the taste buds, refined taste buds of your friends. So this one is required some preparations. I already showed you in my little prep intro how I soaked these see, algae, and now I'm going to blend them. After soaking, they have to be. But before I do this, I will show that in a minute. I have to do one another thing that is very important too, and it takes some more time. So this is a cacao butter. The chocolate tart is made of chocolate, of course, and I cannot just pour in cacao powder because cacao powder is not chocolate. The difference between chocolate and cacao powder is the cacao butter, mostly. And this is cacao butter, you see, it's a block, a hard block, like this. Okay, you see, it's firm, not like stone, but almost. And cacao butter, see, all like. And you have to melt it. And you have a cacao bean. I show you a cacao bean. This is a cacao bean. See, cacao beans have been not roasted. And these cacao beans, they are split into butter and powder, among others. And we put it together again and create these nice chocolates. So I cut a little bit from this cacao butter, just with a knife, you see, like this. It's pretty easy. I have a knife. Put it on a spoon to measure it, a spoonful, tablespoonful. And here I have a container and a top, a little cavity. So I put here boiling water, and on the top I put this container, put the butter in, and they can melt. It takes some time. So here's my water boiler. Put it in. On top goes the little container for the butter. It swims there. It's okay. Oh, I put a little bit less water because then it fits perfectly and the heat will remain inside. The heat remains inside. It remains warmer. See how fast it melts. Can you see? Once it touches the ground, maybe you can see from there. Can you see? Already begins to melt. See? Here? Melting. Very fast. It's yellowish. Okay, that can melt for a while. I need later, in the process, I need more of this butter. I come back to it, and I already have it melted then. Why I don't show you that again? Because that's okay, then you know how it works. So here are my algae now. The second preparation I need the cacao butter to melt and the algae to soak for overnight maybe. Depends on the kind of algae you have. These ones pretty nice. I have to rinse them now. Yes, some salt, there's some sand in the water, but these ones have already been rinsed. They are not like these one. You can. I talk from the off now. Doesn't matter. You can hear me. I wash the algae. Usually, see, this is a cup, a handful, into, and with another 2 cups of water, I blend that now until it gets creamy. So, a bit more. And usually, if I buy my Irish moss, these algae, I have to, to cleanse them pretty thoroughly. If they are more inexpensive, you get this Irish moss, and it has a more sand and calcium from the sea on the picking on the algae, different shapes of it, and then you have to work really a lot to cleanse them. This one is very simple, very easy. There's almost no sand in it. You can see. This was all the sand I found in it. It's not very much, you see, a little. So very easy to cleanse. And if you have some more money, a little more money, you can afford it, then you can buy this kind of brand. This easier to handle. So now I go into the blending process and do my mixer dance. Be back soon. Wow. The blending has been done. The Irish mouse paste is ready to go. It takes some time to blend it. And here we have the paste. And I need 1 cup for it. Put that into my cup to measure. I always use the same measuring cup for my recipes. That is the easy way to go. You have to compare if you're letting yourself inspired by a recipe you find online or so in a book. Then you have to find your own measurements, of course. Your own measures. It should be consistent in itself, of course. I don't need to explain that. So this is my cup here. I always take the same one, easy. See, 1 cup of Irish mouse paste. See how it looks? A little bit runny still, jelly. That will turn into a nice, firm chocolate tart. I put that aside here, and in the meantime I began melting 3 cups of cacao butter. I'll just show you here. You can see the big quantity. It is the same in the small quantity here. Tablespoon of cacao butter. See, now it's been melted. You see? Well, you can see. Melted cacao butter. 1 tablespoon. Leave it on the hot water. This is the 3 cups, a little bit more. I'll show you. The same principle. And it melts so easy. So you can you have these little tools, a bowl and a fitting, a little like container, and you have it easily melted. Some boiled water boils. So I put that aside. All that is for the filling, for the chocolate filling. We do first now, I show you how to do the crust. Put it aside. So the crust, I need a spring form. I have one with a glass bottom. It's a new one. I like this one. The other one was for metal. And I tell you, I didn't know that was the aluminium. Most of them you buy are with aluminium. And aluminium is highly toxic. And the industry uses it. We are already calling our age the aluminium age, age of aluminium, because so useful metal it is. It is wonderful. Airplanes, it's so light, and of course it's you need a lot of energy to pull it from the earth and to make it into this nice metal we have. It's very high cost expensive, and it is also it uses a lot of chemicals that are poured back into the rivers or into the earth afterwards. So, but as good as it might be and useful, it is highly toxic to get into the human body, and we don't even know exactly what happens. It can be incorporated into the cells, and are called eating cells, and these cells will never give it away again in some humans. Others have no problem with it, and there are no long-term studies on what happens, but it could cause anything. So I try rather to avoid it, and I have this nice form, you see, with the glass bottom. It can be used to serve the tart already. And spring tart, that means you can open it and remove the bottom, and you can easily serve the cake. So my cake tart crust has 6 ingredients. I have cashew nuts here, aside for a moment. I have cashew nuts, see, half cup, and pecans. These nice American Indian nuts. They are in their original form, so very healthy and nice flavor, and I love them a lot. And they go into the crust. For the crust I need a food processor, fill it with the S plate. This is the S plate. See? Wave-like blade. Put the nuts in. And the other ingredients. Not this one. Not the moss. So this is the coconut and the cacao butter, the melted one. 1 tablespoon. Third ingredient. And date mousse, the sweetener. 2 tablespoons I put in. Nice sweet. Cacao butter, coconut oil, 1 tablespoon. And a teaspoon of lemon juice. It's not even half a lemon. You squeeze it, you have a teaspoon. These ingredients will be processed until I have a crust. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I have to put the juice on. I have to help the crust to scrape down from the sides the nuts. If you have a smaller food processor, smaller one, then it's maybe easier, but well, it's a nice one. This is what it looks like in the food processor. I mean, it depends on how you wish your crust. This crust is still a little bit, there are some, you see some pieces of the nuts in the crust. But if you give it too much of a blending or processing, then it turns into some kind of marzipan. It's different. For a crust, I like a little bit more texture. It has to be a little bit lighter, otherwise it gets so sticky. And I'm going to have a marzipan crust here. So this is my crust. It's a nice little ball. Put it into my spring form. See? And I form it into, I take this one, press it into that form, this form, just to cover the bottom. Take a spoon. It will be a thin layer only for this tart. The chocolate will be firm and nice, and it doesn't need a thick bottom. It will be almost a pure chocolate dream. And the bottom is just there, just a slight crunch. A little taste of the pecans and the cashews. Yeah. So, take some time to make it nice and even and bring it all to the sides, this crust. You see, this is a different way of baking a cake, of making a cake, unbaking a cake, also a live cake. You never heat it, you never bake it. You never bring the flour to become, you don't use any flour. It doesn't have to be baked up, pumped up. Well, we know from these nice bakeries we have, our culture has so much elaborated on, and we try to find a way to do that without baking and without flour. And the nuts and some tricks, as you see here, will help us to find an alternative. It is an experimentation, it is a research process. To be in the raw food, that means for me research all the time, because we have lots of cooked recipes and centuries and ages. Humankind has developed it, cultured it, cultivated it. It is amazing, I like it. For me now, sometimes I enjoy cooked food. I feel the raw food has to be predominant in my diet. And even in my comfort food, in my desserts and some sweet things that are supposed to be not healthy at all, usually in a raw food diet, a healthy dessert is something healthy. I mean, of course, it is always better to eat broccoli, even if it's cooked. A cooked broccoli is even healthier than a chocolate tart, of course. And the sweets inside, yeah. A lot of fat. Cacao is inside. Cacao is healthy too, of course, healthy. It has healthy components, but of course broccoli is more healthy, no question, no doubt. So even if it's cooked, yeah, but you can. They're talking about guilt-free sweets, guilt-free desserts. Well, I don't know about guilt also, but the intention. The meaning of that, what they intend to say with that is that it is, you don't need to feel bad, you can just have your cake and it won't make you fat because it's raw food. And it has it's whole food inside, you take the whole ingredients. For example here, you take the cacao butter and the cacao powder, the whole nut. It is split before, but then again, it's combined. In this cake, whole food chocolate cake. Okay, I'm talking away now. I want to show you, it takes some time to make a crust nice. And sometimes I thought in the beginning when I made my first cakes, I thought, oh, that is too little. I have to use more of the dough for the crust, but then no. With time, in practice, I learned to use the ingredients I have in a very economic way, and to make a very thin layer of crust for a tart can be very nice for the taste buds, for the feeling you eat it, for the taste. So this is evenly spread. See, all sides reached. Nice. And this goes into the fridge now, and then make my filling. Friends are coming in an hour or so. We practice in 2 hours of yoga or 3, and then we have this nice tart. The breakfast is waiting in the fridge, setting a little bit, because you know the coconut oil and the cacao butter, that will firm up in the fridge, and it will be a different texture for the crust, and that will keep in room temperature. So here I have 7 ingredients now for the filling. And there is, of course, mainly you will of course expect is the cacao powder and the cacao butter. I said 3 cups of melted. I showed you already. You see? And cashew nuts, cup of cashew nuts. You know the cashew nuts. Very nice. Raw cashew nuts. And of date mousse, a sweetener. We all know cacao. We know cacao is sweet. In an original form it was used a spicy form and different, not sweet at all. We know that now. But nowadays we love our chocolate sweet. So a lot of sweetener into the filling, the chocolate. So it is a 1.5 cup of chocolate powder, 3 cups of cacao butter, and 1 cup of Irish moss paste. See, I've shown you already. And to make it a little bit spicy, I put a little lemon juice in it, a tablespoon. I squeezed half a lemon, just a half lemon, that is okay, just to give it a little bit of pinch, a zing, and some coconut aminos. Coconut aminos give it a little spicy, salty touch. A little more than that. You know, the umami taste. One travel Japanese in the 50s, he found umami taste is the combination of all 5 tastes there are. The 5th taste, all. So sour, sweet, spicy, and what else? Salty. And that is the 5th one is the umami, combines it all, and in chocolate, yeah, and this taste, so you can use it as a little enhancer trick. I use my blender from before where I made my Irish moss paste. Doesn't matter, it goes in there anyway. So put in everything just in there. That easy. Date mousse. It's my favorite sweetener, you know, because it's full of minerals and it's a whole fruit. I don't like agaves that much. I use it sometimes if I have to. For the whipped cream, for example, and I put some agave in, or these things are, then it has to be the same color, like no color or white. I put dates in, it gets brown. So agave, light agave will keep the color. So that's one reason for you to use it. But to make it more healthy, I love to use the dates because they have this nice low glycemic effect, so the blood sugar won't rise that fast. Much more healthy than the agave, for example. Not that healthy at all. So everything goes in here. So pretty easy, all the thing. That's one fun part of the raw food. Now very careful. Only half teaspoon. Very little. Just give a little touch. A little touch. Put my lid on. And we will dance away. Oops. Not needed here. 1, 2, 3. I have to use this can leak because to make it all stick together. Now the blender has something to do here. It is a pretty fancy sticky mass. Yeah, it's supposed to be chocolate. A chocolate cream. Oh, it looks amazing. Ooh. And I will taste with a little spoon. Okay. Wow. Chocolate mousse. I put that into the tart and get my tart back from the fridge, the sec bag. Is the crust. Whoops. And this I have to take care of. Shines it through. Oh, it's pretty firm now. Pretty firm, like, yeah. Very good. I have to, that little hole, I have to take care of the hole. But that's easy with a spoon. Still, it's very firm. It's hard. That few moments, see now the hole is gone. Now put the chocolate in. I'm so curious what they will say. How it will taste once it's ready. So sit now, see how it is, how it looks. It looks like a nice chocolate cream. Now you have to have a high power blender because otherwise a regular blender, it might not be able to get it really all down because it's a heavy mass. And to the other hand, spoon it out. I don't want to waste too much of the chocolate, so I take a spoon to get it all out of the blender. Yes, it's a good moment to give you some more information about the blender. You have different kinds of blenders out there, and of course they are all great. The power blenders have all wonderful characteristics and effects, and you can use them in different ways, but there are differences to them. It depends. They have their advantages and disadvantages. This one, for example, is very powerful. He's more powerful than all the other blenders out there, and it is inexpensive. That's definitely the plus, the positive advantage. And one of the advantages is that it has a large bottom, and the knives on the bottom, they have some space around themselves. So if you get out the mousse, like here I do, for example now, you can easily get out the mousse out of the corners down there. In other blenders, they are tighter, smaller on the bottom. It might have some other advantages. You know, I'll show what you mean. I'll show you what I mean. This is the blender. Right? The light falls in. So you see the knives down there. They have some space around themselves. So you can get with a spoon, you get in there and scrape the last bit out. Well, not the last bit, but you can scrape some out. Whereas other blenders don't leave this option. They're smaller out there, down there, so you cannot reach it. That's one of the reasons I prefer this one. And of course it's more expensive. It's Revo Blend, it's called. It's made in Germany, and it's pretty new, 2 years or so. It comes with a 10-year warranty also. But it has some disadvantages too. The other ones have advantages too. So it's not to say the one is better or so. They are all great. Yeah, all great, and pro and cons. We need the perfect blender yet. Some day it will come out. So now I evenly spread on the mousse. Make it nice. Well, I have some time to make some tea. My friends, this is pretty much done. It's pretty nice and even on top. Looks amazing, and a wonderful consistency. The texture looks so light, really like a mousse tart, a chocolate mousse, the famous French mousse au chocolat. Pretty much the same. Russell James, thumbs up. I like this one. Final test will be what will the friends say. So texture is all perfect. They are so that's beyond doubt. It's wonderful. See? It looks like. I will show you, of course, once I open it. It's firmed up. A little bit of chocolate on the outside. Yummy, yummy. Fridge. Bye. See you soon.